Instructor Zelar watched in horror as human cadet Mia Jones loaded a kinetic rifle to face the Void Wraith, the unstoppable entity that had survived direct hits from antimatter cannons, singularity bombs, and reality fracture weaponry. Cadet Jones, evacuate immediately. Zylar's mandibles clicked frantically, his forearms gesturing toward the emergency exits where the last of the Academy cadets were fleeing. According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, that's a live Void Wraith. The simulation containment failed. This is not a drill. Mia didn't look up from her weapon, sliding a magazine of old-fashioned bullets into the receiver with a satisfying click. Yeah, I can see that. How many rounds you think I'll need? You don't understand. Zealer's carapace had gone pale yellow with terror. Void Wraiths are classified as extinction-level entities. They've survived planetary bombardments. 3 civilizations have been completely eradicated trying to kill these things. There are 0 documented successful terminations in galactic history. Uh-huh, Mia chambered around, the mechanical sound absurdly loud in the emptying training hall. But did anyone try just shooting it? Zelar's translator actually glitched, trying to process that statement. Shooting? What do you think antimatter cannons do? No, I mean shooting it, like with bullets. Mia patted her rifle affectionately. This is a .308 Winchester, propels a metal projectile at about 800 meters per second. Simple physics. Simple. Zealer couldn't form words. Through the reinforced observation window, the Void Wraith was visible 3 corridors away, a nightmarish mass of writhing shadow that dissolved the walls it touched into quantum foam. Cadets screamed as they fled, their energy weapons firing uselessly, the bolts being absorbed like water into sand. Commander Vexthul's voice crackled through every speaker in the facility. Academy-wide evacuation order Alpha 9. All personnel to emergency shuttles. This is not a simulation. Repeat, Lev Void Wraith entity contained breach. Survival time estimated at 12 minutes before facility total dissolution. Mia checked her scope, adjusted for distance. 12 minutes. That's plenty of time. Cadet Jones, Vexthul's voice focused on her location. I am ordering you to evacuate. That weapon is a museum piece. Kinetic projectiles are absolutely useless against void entities. With respect, Commander, when's the last time anyone actually tried? Mia took a shooting stance, something Zelar had never seen in his 40 years of combat instruction. Legs spread, weapon braced against shoulder, cheek against stock. It looked primitive, barbaric. Your fancy energy weapons aren't working. Maybe it's time to go old school. The Wraith dissolves physical matter on contact. Zealer was pulling at his own antennae in distress. Your bullets will disintegrate before they reach it. Will they, though? Mia squinted through her scope. The Wraith had just dissolved through another bulkhead, now 2 corridors away. She could see it clearly, a roiling mass of darkness that seemed to exist slightly out of phase with normal reality. Because, from where I'm standing, those walls are moving pretty slow when it eats them. My bullets move a lot faster. The entity reached the first corridor junction. A defense turret emerged from the ceiling, firing plasma bolts at maximum output. The Wraith absorbed them without slowing, the energy disappearing into its form like light into a black hole. See? Zelar pointed with 2 trembling arms. Nothing stops them. They absorb all energy, dissolve all matter. The Kreshtal Empire threw everything they had at one of these. It destroyed their entire homeworld before dissipating naturally after consuming enough mass. Mia made a thoughtful noise. Yeah, but how fast were their weapons moving? Because energy travels at light speed, sure, but your plasma bolts are subsonic, and physical objects dissolving, that takes time, right? Molecular breakdown isn't instantaneous. What? Zealer's combat-trained mind tried to process her logic and came up blank. Cadet, I don't think you understand the severity. Training Hall 7, this is Command. Vexthul interrupted, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. Weapons specialist Jitaro reports all advanced countermeasures have failed. Reality anchors non-functional. Quantum destabilizers absorbed. Neural cascade weapons phased through target. We have nothing that works. The Wraith entered the main corridor, 100 meters away. Its form rippled and shifted, shadow given terrible substance. Where it moved, reality itself seemed to tear slightly, leaving trails of distorted space that hurt to look at directly. Mia flicked off her safety. Good thing I brought my own gear then. That's a kinetic weapon, Sailor was practically screeching now. We abandoned those technologies 12,000 years ago. They're too primitive, too simple to fail, Mia suggested, her voice maddeningly calm. Look, Instructor, I get it. You've got all this advanced tech, quantum this and antimatter that, very impressive. But I'm a mechanics kid from Detroit. My dad taught me that when your fancy tools don't work, you grab a hammer. This isn't a maintenance problem, it's an extinction event. Same principle, though. Mia's finger rested lightly on the trigger. 75 meters. Sometimes the simplest solution is the right one. And shooting problems until they stop being problems? That's about as simple as it gets. Vexthul's voice came through again, desperate now. All personnel evacuation complete except Training Hall 7. Cadet Jones, please. We cannot lose a human student to... Contact in 30 seconds, Mia said calmly, cutting him off. Zilar, you should probably get behind me. This is going to be loud. The Void Wraith slithered through the final doorway into the training hall, its form expanding to fill the space. The temperature dropped 20 degrees. Emergency lighting flickered and died. The entity had no face, no eyes, but somehow Mia felt it focusing on her, the only living thing that hadn't fled. Zilar's survival instinct finally overrode his training. He dove behind a reinforced barrier, all 4 arms covering his head. You're going to die! Mia lined up her shot, breathing slow and steady like her dad taught her at the range back home. Probably not. But hey, at least I'll have tried something new. The Void Wraith surged forward, dissolving the floor beneath it, a wave of entropy given form. Mia pulled the trigger. The crack of the rifle shot echoed through the training hall like thunder. The bullet crossed the distance in a fraction of a second. Supersonic, simple, unstoppable. It hit the Void Wraith dead center. The entity flinched. What? Sylar's translator barely functioned through his shock. What? The Wraith's form rippled violently where the bullet had struck, shadow mass convulsing, a sound like tearing fabric filling the air. It wasn't absorption, it wasn't dissolution, it was impact. Mia worked the bolt, ejecting the spent casing. It clinked against the floor, a cheerful, mundane sound in the face of cosmic horror. That actually worked. She fired again. Another hit. The Wraith recoiled, its advance stopping completely. Where the bullet struck, its form didn't absorb them. They punched through, leaving holes that closed slowly, like wounds trying to heal. Impossible! Vexithul's voice thundered through the speakers. Physical projectiles can't. Wraiths dissolve matter on contact. This violates every documented... Commander, with respect, it's happening right now whether it violates stuff or not. Mia fired a 3rd round. The Wraith actually retreated half a meter. Zealer, you seeing this? The instructor slowly raised his head above the barrier, all 4 eyes wide with disbelief. You're damaging it. You're actually damaging it. Yeah, turns out things don't like getting shot. Mia kept her rifle trained on the entity, which had stopped its advance entirely and seemed to be reconsidering its approach. Who knew? But energy weapons phase through. Sylar scrambled toward his tactical console, pulling up every scan they had of the Wraith. Plasma bolts, particle beams, antimatter streams, all absorbed or phased through. Physical matter dissolves on molecular contact. How is your primitive projectile different? Speed, probably. Mia fired again. The Wraith twisted, trying to avoid the shot, another first in documented void entity behavior. Energy moves at light speed, but your plasma is subsonic. Things like walls and barriers. Static. My bullets are moving at 800 meters per second, way faster than its dissolution field can react. The training hall doors burst open. Jotaro, the Academy's weapons specialist, rushed in carrying what looked like an entire armory floating on anti-grav pallets. I brought everything. Plasma rifle Mark 7, neural disruptor, quantum destabilizer, reality anchor cannon. He stopped, staring at the scene. Is that thing backing away? Yep. Mia didn't take her eyes off the Wraith. Hey, you got any more bullets? I've got maybe 20 rounds left and I don't know how many it takes to actually kill this thing. Jotaro's crystalline face structure reflected his utter confusion. Bullets? Bullets? Cadet Jones, these are museum pieces. He gestured at the floating arsenal. I have weapons that can crack moons, destabilize quantum fields, collapse local space-time. Yeah, and none of them work on that thing. Mia pointed at the Wraith with her rifle barrel. This does. So, bullets? We don't stock kinetic ammunition, Jotaro admitted, sounding embarrassed. Those weapons were phased out 12 millennia ago. They're too primitive, too simple. Too effective, apparently. Mia fired another round. The Wraith was definitely trying to retreat now, pulling back toward the corridor it had entered from. Damn it, I knew I should have brought more mags. Vexthul's voice cut in, strained with the effort of processing the impossible. Cadet Jones, I'm reviewing historical records. Every documented Void Wraith encounter shows them phasing through physical barriers, walls, doors, armored hulls. They dissolve solid matter. Your projectiles should not be reaching it. Those are slow-moving objects, Commander. Mia squeezed off another shot, 15 rounds left. Walls don't move, doors are stationary. Even armored hull plating is just sitting there. My bullets are traveling 800 meters per second. The Wraith's dissolution field needs time to work. Molecular breakdown isn't instant. My rounds are through before it can react. Silar pulled up physics simulations on his console, his hands shaking. The kinetic energy transfer, simple momentum. By the ancients, it's too fast for the entity to phase. It has to choose, maintain physical presence to move forward, or shift to energy state to absorb attacks. It can't do both simultaneously. Right, and while it's deciding, I'm shooting it. Mia's tone suggested this should have been obvious. This is literally how humans have been solving problems for thousands of years. Thing is dangerous, throw rocks at it. Rocks too slow, make them faster. Add explosions for efficiency. Your species weaponized momentum, Jotaro breathed. Pure, simple kinetic transfer. No exotic particles, no quantum effects. Just mass times velocity. F equals ma, baby. Learned that in high school physics. Mia fired again. 10 rounds. The Wraith was actively retreating now, pulling back into the corridor. Oh, no you don't. We're finishing this. Cadet Jones, hold position, Vexthul commanded. If it escapes into the Academy proper, then I chase it. Mia started walking forward, rifle shouldered, steady controlled steps. Silar, you coming? Might want to see how this ends. The instructor looked at his advanced tactical display showing the Wraith's retreat, then at the human with her obsolete weapon, then back at the display. Every protocol he knew said this was impossible. Every combat doctrine screamed that kinetic weapons were useless, but the Wraith was bleeding energy and running away. Against every tactical regulation I know, Silar said slowly, grabbing his sidearm, a plasma pistol that he now realized was completely useless. I'm accompanying you. Someone needs to document this for the Galactic Military Archive. Cool. Try to keep up. Mia advanced on the retreating entity, which was now moving at something approaching panic speed, dissolving through walls to escape faster. And Jotaro, seriously, find me more bullets. Earth Standard 308 Winchester. If you have to fabricate them, I can send you the specs. You want me to manufacture primitive ammunition, Jotaro said flatly. I want you to manufacture the only ammunition that works. Mia fired twice more, both rounds hitting the Wraith's retreating mass. 8 rounds left. Because unless you've got something better, this museum piece is the only thing standing between that entity and academy full of cadets. Jotaro looked at his arsenal of advanced weapons, each representing millennia of technological refinement, quantum engineering, and exotic physics. Then at Mia's simple rifle. "I'll start fabrication immediately," he said, already running for the manufacturing labs. "And Cadet, don't die. Humans are apparently the only species stupid enough to bring bullets to an entropy fight." "Brave enough," Mia corrected, pursuing the wraith through the hole it had dissolved in the wall. "The word you're looking for is brave enough." Mia followed the wraith through 3 dissolved bulkheads, stepping carefully around the edges where reality looked fuzzy and wrong. 6 rounds left. She fired methodically. 1 shot, assess, another shot. Each bullet found its mark. The entity was definitely learning. It tried phasing to energy state. The bullets punched through anyway, their kinetic energy disrupting whatever passed for the wraith's coherence. It tried splitting into multiple smaller masses. Mia just picked the biggest piece and kept shooting. "This doesn't make sense!" Sylar scrambled after her, his tactical computer throwing error messages. "Scan reads show your projectiles should dissolve on contact. The molecular disruption field extends 3 centimeters from its surface. Your bullets are passing through that field like it doesn't exist." "It's a time thing, not a distance thing," Mia fired. 5 rounds. The wraith convulsed again, energy bleeding off in wisps of shadow that dissipated into the air. "That field needs time to work. Microseconds maybe, but my bullet is only in contact with it for nanoseconds. Too fast to matter." The wraith reached a large open space, the Academy's main atrium. It spread out, trying to make itself a harder target. "Clever." Mia dropped to one knee, braced her rifle against a support pillar, and fired twice into its center mass. 3 rounds left. Both hits. The wraith contracted violently, pulling itself back together. Where the bullet struck, its form rippled with something that looked disturbingly like pain. "It's trying to absorb the kinetic energy," Jotaro's voice came through Zilar's communicator. "I'm reading the scans from the tactical net. It's attempting to convert momentum into its own energy matrix like it does with plasma bolts." "And?" Mia asked, already knowing the answer. "It can't process it fast enough. Kinetic transfer is too simple, too immediate. There's no energy signature to lock onto, no exotic particles to absorb. It's just mass times velocity, and the physics happen whether it wants them to or not." Mia reloaded, her last magazine. 20 rounds. This is literally how humans have killed things for thousands of years. Rock, spear, arrow, bullet, same principle. Make something small move really fast and put it into the thing you want to stop moving. "Primitive," Zilar whispered, watching the wraith desperately trying to defend against attacks it had no framework to understand. "Effective," Mia corrected. "There's a difference." Vexthul's voice crackled through comms talking to someone else. "Search the historical archives. Anything marked kinetic weapons, ballistic systems, projectile arms. I don't care if they're listed as obsolete. Find them, catalog them, and get them to fabrication now." "Commander, we phased out kinetic technology 12,000 years ago," someone responded. "There might be museum pieces, historical displays. Then raid the museums. The human's primitive weapon is doing what our most advanced technology cannot. I want every kinetic weapon system in this academy identified and operational within the hour." Mia advanced across the atrium, rifle shouldered. The wraith was backing away, maintaining distance. In the archives, Zilar was frantically pulling up. No void entity had ever retreated from confrontation. They consumed until naturally dissipating or being led away from populated areas. They didn't run. This one was running. First documented tactical withdrawal by a void entity in galactic history, Zilar muttered, his translator barely keeping up with his rapid speech. "It's showing strategic thinking, threat assessment, self-preservation. It knows you can hurt it." "Good," Mia fired. 19 rounds. "It should be scared." The Wraith tried something new. It rushed forward, attempting to engulf her in its mass. Dissolution at close range, where bullets wouldn't have distance to build velocity. Mia stood her ground and fired point blank, 5 rapid shots into its approaching form. The Wraith recoiled so violently it actually made a sound, a screech like tearing metal that set every alarm in the academy blaring. At point-blank range, the bullets did even more damage, kinetic energy transferring directly into its coherence field with nowhere to dissipate. 14 rounds left. It tried to use proximity against you, Jotaro said, awe in his voice. That's advanced tactical thinking, and you just shot it more. Worked, didn't it? Mia ejected a spent casing, chambered the next round. Simple problems, simple solutions. Zealer's console chimed. Commanders pulled every historical file on human warfare. Cadet Jones, your species never stopped using kinetic weapons, even after developing energy technology. Why would we? Mia kept her rifle trained on the Wraith, which had retreated to the far side of the atrium. Bullets are cheap, reliable, and they work. You don't abandon something that works just because something fancier comes along. We did, Xylar said quietly. The entire galactic community did. We saw kinetic weapons as primitive, beneath us. We pursued more elegant solutions. Plasma that could be tuned, energy that could be modulated, quantum effects that could be precisely controlled. And when you met something that could counter all of that, you had nothing left. Mia started walking again, steady and relentless. The Wraith matched her pace, backing away. Meanwhile, humans are still shooting things with lumps of metal because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Wraith is attempting to reach external hull breach, Vexthul reported. If it escapes into open space. It won't. Mia's voice had gone cold, professional. I've got 14 rounds and it's running out of room to run. Xylar, what's behind that wall? The instructor checked his schematic. Storage bay, dead end, only one entrance. Perfect. Mia fired twice, herding the Wraith toward the storage bay entrance. 12 rounds. Let's finish this. The entity seemed to realize it was being corralled. It tried to phase through the floor. Mia shot the section it was phasing into, the impact disrupting whatever process allowed it to move through solid matter. It tried dissolving through the ceiling. Another shot stopped that. You're hunting it, Xylar breathed. Actually hunting an entropy entity. Apex predator, baby. Mia grinned without humor. Earth didn't have a lot of natural advantages, but we got really, really good at persistence hunting. You run, we follow. You hide, we find you. You fight, we fight harder. Eventually, you stop running. The Wraith backed into the storage bay, and Mia could swear it looked panicked, if something made of living shadow could panic. Oh, no, you don't, she said, advancing on the cornered entity. I've got 12 rounds left, and you're about to find out exactly why humans are the scariest thing evolution ever produced. She raised her rifle. The Wraith pressed against the back wall, trying to dissolve through it fast enough to escape. Mia pulled the trigger. This is for every species you've hunted to extinction. The storage bay became a kill box. Mia moved with mechanical precision, circling to cut off escape angles, firing in controlled patterns that forced the Wraith into progressively smaller spaces. Center mass, led the target, controlled bursts, fundamentals her dad had drilled into her at the range when she was 12. 11 rounds, 10, 9. She's using hunting tactics, Xylar whispered into his communicator, his tactical training finally recognizing the pattern. Pack hunting strategies, herding prey, cutting off retreat, systematic elimination of escape options. Against an entropy entity, Vexthul responded, his voice hollow with disbelief. She's hunting something that has consumed entire civilizations. 8 rounds, 7. The Wraith tried everything. It phased to pure energy. Mia's bullet disrupted the transition, forcing it back to physical form. It attempted to split again. She shot the largest fragment, then the second largest, forcing it to reconsolidate or lose coherence entirely. It tried rushing her one final desperate time. She put 3 rounds into it at 5 meters. Point blank devastating. 4 rounds left. The entity cannot counter simple kinetic transfer, Jotaro reported from his lab, scans flooding his displays. It's adapted to energy weapons over millennia. Plasma, antimatter, quantum destabilization. All of those have energy signatures, particle traces, exotic physics it can absorb or phase through. But bullets? They're just metal, inert matter moving very fast. No energy signature to lock onto, no exotic particles to absorb. Just Newtonian physics, and physics doesn't negotiate. 3 rounds. 2. The Wraith's form was flickering now, its coherence failing. Where Mia's bullets had struck, holes remained, not healing anymore. Energy bled off in streams of dissolving shadow. It made that tearing metal sound again, but weaker. Fading. Mia lined up her final shot. Center mass, steady breath, smooth trigger pull, 1 round. The bullet hit true. The Void Wraith collapsed inward, its form destabilizing completely. Shadow peeled away in layers, each one dissipating into nothing. The temperature spiked 20 degrees as all the absorbed energy released at once. Reality snapped back into place where it had been distorted, the air making a sound like a vacuum being filled. Then silence. The entity was gone, not retreated, not phased away. Gone. Dead. Mia lowered her rifle, ejected the empty magazine, and safed the weapon. Took 18 rounds. Good to know for next time. The silence in the command center was absolute. Vexathul stared at his displays showing flat readings where the Wraith had been. No energy signature, no dimensional distortion, no quantum uncertainty. Nothing. First confirmed kill, someone whispered. First confirmed kill of a void entity in galactic history. Then chaos. How did that work? Kinetic weapons are obsolete technology. Run the scans again. There must be an error. The entity is gone. Confirmed dissipation at molecular level. Mia walked out of the storage bay, rifle slung over her shoulder, looking tired and annoyed. Can someone call off the evacuation? I've got a tactics exam tomorrow and I need to study. Zilar approached slowly, all 4 eyes fixed on her like she was the most dangerous thing he'd ever encountered. Cadet Jones, you just killed an unkillable entity with a weapon we abandoned 12,000 years ago. We all need to understand how. How? I shot it. Mia shrugged. A lot, until it stopped moving. That's pretty much the whole strategy. But why did it work? Vexathul demanded through the speakers, his composed command voice cracking slightly. Energy weapons failed. Antimatter failed. Reality fracture weapons failed. Your bullets succeeded. Explain. Mia sighed and held up her rifle. Okay, look, this weapon uses a chemical propellant, gunpowder, to accelerate a small metal projectile down a rifled barrel. The rifling spins the bullet for stability. The bullet exits at approximately 800 meters per second and impacts the target with kinetic energy. That's it. No plasma, no quantum anything, no exotic particles, just chemistry and physics. That's impossibly simple, Jotaro said, appearing in the storage bay entrance, his scans still running. There's no energy signature for the Wraith to detect before impact, no exotic physics for it to counter. It evolved defenses against sophisticated weapons, and you hit it with applied Newtonian mechanics. Exactly. Mia started field stripping her rifle, her hands moving with practiced ease. You all got too clever. You developed these amazing weapons with controllable plasma and quantum effects and reality manipulation. Super impressive, but when you met something that could counter all of that sophistication, you had nothing. Meanwhile, I've got a weapon that's basically unchanged from what humans were using 500 years ago, because the principle is sound. Metal goes fast, metal hits thing stops being a problem. Zilar pulled up galactic military history, timelines spanning millennia. We phased out kinetic weapons 12,000 years ago, called them primitive, inefficient, beneath advanced civilizations. And in that time, the void entities evolved. They adapted to counter-energy weapons because that's all we used. They never encountered kinetic weapons because no one uses them anymore. Except humans, Vexthul said slowly. Humans never stopped. Why would we? Mia reassembled her rifle, the motion smooth and automatic. Guns work. They're reliable, easy to maintain. Ammunition is simple to manufacture, and they put holes in things that need holes in them. You don't abandon a working tool just because something fancier exists. We did, Sealer said quietly. We abandoned working tools because they weren't elegant enough, sophisticated enough. We pursued advancement for its own sake and created a blind spot in our defenses 12,000 years wide. Jataro was already pulling up manufacturing specs. Commander, I'm redirecting fabrication facilities to produce kinetic ammunition. Earth-standard calibers, multiple types. If Cadet Jones can kill a void entity with 18 rounds, I want every soldier in this academy armed with 2,000. Do it, Vexthul ordered, and update threat assessment protocols immediately. New directive. When conventional weapons fail, attempt kinetic solutions. If humanity maintained primitive weapons this long, there's probably a reason. Yeah, they work, Mia said, slinging her rifle. Now seriously, can I go? I'm exhausted. I smell like gunpowder, and I really do have that exam. Zelar looked at his human student, this small, unassuming mechanic's daughter who'd just accomplished what 3 extinct civilizations could not. Cadet Jones, you just revolutionized galactic military doctrine. You've proven that 12,000 years of weapons development may have been a strategic error. You've killed an unkillable entity, and you want to go study for a tactics exam? Well, yeah, it's worth 30% of my grade. Mia checked her datapad. Plus, I need to write an after-action report about this, don't I? That's going to take forever. The instructor started laughing, a clicking, wheezing sound. Humans, you face entropy, given form with a museum piece and complain about paperwork. Priorities, instructor. Mia grinned. But hey, look at the bright side. At least now you know, when your fancy tech doesn't work, try shooting the problem with regular bullets. Worst case, it doesn't work. Best case, you make history. She walked away, still carrying her obsolete weapon, leaving behind a command center full of aliens frantically rewriting everything they thought they knew about warfare. Within an hour, Galactic Military Command was in emergency session. Vexthul's report hit every defense network simultaneously. Human primitive kinetic weapons effective against void entities. Request immediate tactical reassessment of obsolete weapon systems. Approved, came the response. Redirect 17 manufacturing facilities to kinetic weapon production. Requisition Earth firearms specifications. Priority Alpha 1. Mia was in the Academy Armory, breaking down her rifle for cleaning, when Zelar found her. She'd laid out a cloth and was methodically disassembling the weapon into component parts. Cadet Jones, what are you doing? Cleaning my rifle. Fired 20 rounds today. Needs maintenance. She removed the bolt carrier group, inspecting it for carbon buildup. You guys have a gun range here? This baby needs to be re-zeroed after all that. Zelar stared at the disassembled weapon parts. You maintain your own weapon? Well, yeah. Basic gun care. Clean after use, oil moving parts, check for wear. Weapon doesn't work right if you don't maintain it. She started running a cleaning rod through the barrel. Do you not maintain your plasma rifle? I return it to the armory. Technicians service it. Zelar looked genuinely confused. You're saying every human soldier performs their own weapons maintenance? Yeah, it's literally basic training. Mia glanced up. Weapon jams in combat, you need to know how to fix it. Field strip. Clear the malfunction, reassemble, get back in the fight. You can't just call a technician when someone's shooting at you. Vexthul's voice came through Zylar's communicator. Every human soldier knows weapons repair, at an individual level. Commander, I could do this blindfolded, Mia said, already reassembling the rifle. Humans learn this at like age 15 if they grow up around guns. My dad had me stripping and cleaning rifles before I could drive. Demonstrate, Vexthul ordered. Blindfold! Now! Selar handed Mia a visual obstruction band. She wrapped it around her eyes, smiled, and her hands moved across the disassembled parts with practiced precision. Click, snap, slide. 30 seconds later, she removed the blindfold and presented a fully assembled functional rifle. Muscle memory. You do something enough times, you don't need to see it. She cycled the action, the mechanical sound crisp and clean. Every human soldier can do this. It's not special, it's just basic competency. The silence from the communicator was profound. I'm updating training protocols, Vexthul said finally. New course. Primitive weapons applications. Cadet Jones, you're the instructor. Mia laughed. I'm teaching aliens how to use guns? That's hilarious. My dad's going to lose his mind when I tell him. Is your father military? Nah, he runs a machine shop in Detroit, but he's big into target shooting, competition marksman. He's the one who taught me. Mia slung her rifle. I'm basically teaching you what every rural human kid learns for fun. Jotaro appeared with a datapad covered in schematics. Cadet Jones, I need Earth specifications for kinetic ammunition. We're setting up production lines for 308 Winchester, 9mm, 45 ACP, 5.56 NATO, 50 BMG. I pulled these from your military database. Are these correct? Yeah, those are the common ones. You'll want manufacturing specs for the bullets, casings, primers, and propellant. Mia pulled up files on her own datapad. I'm sending you a complete reloading manual, everything you need to know about making ammunition from scratch. Humans have maintained complete kinetic ammunition manufacturing capability, Sylar said, finally understanding. For 500 years of space travel, you never stopped making bullets. Why would we? They're useful. Mia checked the time. Speaking of useful, I'm starving. You guys have food in this place? The cafeteria is open, Sylar said automatically, still processing. Cadet Jones, you just killed an extinction-level entity, revolutionized galactic military doctrine, and fundamentally changed how we approach warfare. And you want lunch? Yeah, probably just a sandwich. I've got that after-action report too. Right, and it's going to take hours. Mia started walking toward the cafeteria. Plus, I need to actually study for that tactics exam. Today's been weird enough without failing a test. Zelar and Vexthul watched her go, this unassuming human carrying her obsolete weapon like it was the most normal thing in the world. New regulation, Vexthul announced over the command channel. Every military vessel, station, and installation will maintain a stockpile of kinetic weapons and ammunition. Minimum loadout, 20% of total armament. When advanced weapons fail, we go primitive. It's not primitive, Selar corrected, watching Mia disappear around a corner. It's elegant, simple, reliable. We called it primitive because we were too arrogant to see the value in simplicity. The humans saw it, Jotaro said, already routing manufacturing orders. They saw it 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago, probably longer, and they never forgot. While we pursued sophistication, they maintained fundamentals. In the cafeteria, Mia grabbed a sandwich, found a quiet corner, and pulled out her datapad. She typed quickly, "Weird day at school. Killed something unkillable with Grandpa's rifle design. Aliens are freaking out. Revolutionary military doctrine apparently. Cafeteria's out of decent coffee though." She hit send, took a bite of her sandwich, and opened her tactics textbook. Outside, the galactic military was being fundamentally restructured. Weapons that hadn't been manufactured in 12 millennia were entering mass production. Training protocols written by species that hadn't fired a kinetic weapon in recorded history were being drafted by human consultants. And in the cafeteria, the human responsible for all of it was annoyed about the coffee situation. Selar found her 20 minutes later, still reading her textbook, rifle propped against the table within easy reach. "Cadet Jones, Galactic Command wants to award you the Star of Valor. It's the highest military honor in known space." Mia looked up from her studying. "Cool. Can they mail it?" "I really need to focus on this exam." The instructor started laughing again, that clicking wheeze that was becoming familiar. Humans, you save civilization and complain about coffee. Priorities, instructor, Mia grinned. Besides, I didn't save civilization. I just shot something that needed shooting. That's not heroic, that's just practical. She went back to her textbook, and Zilar realized something profound. To humans, solving an impossible problem with a simple solution wasn't extraordinary. It was just Tuesday. Somewhere in the galactic armories, technicians who hadn't seen a bullet in their lifetimes were learning to manufacture them. Somewhere in strategy rooms, generals were rewriting Doctrine to include weapons their ancestors had called obsolete. And in an academy cafeteria, the human who'd started it all was just trying to pass her tactics exam. The galaxy had changed forever. Mia Jones was worried about her GPA.